Well, listen, welcome back to the Point of Difference podcast, and it's an extra special welcome today. Not only, dear listener, do we have you guys at home, but we have a very special live audience today. Woo! And that was all genuine. I didn't have to press them to do that at all. No, we are, honestly, thank you so much for coming along. We are at the Young Professionals' first and possibly inaugural Run Club, and we are here today teamed up with Runna. I'm not going to try and explain what they do because you're going to do a much better job of it than me in a minute. But we are, for context, for those at home, we're at the beautiful Allbirds store in Covent Garden. I am feeling ever so slightly awkward as I see some daggers being thrown at me. For the second time in a week, I could see Theo I made, our producer, I made do an F45 class earlier in the week whilst I pranced around taking photos. And I've managed to do it again. I did not join in today, I'm very sorry, dear listener. It was particularly wet and cold, and so everyone in here deserves a medal and or a beer, whatever your preference is. But thank you for coming along tonight. So I hope a lot of you, certainly listeners, but in this room will know about the Point of Difference podcast, but I accept not all of you will. So a little bit of background. What we try and do is we speak to inspirational individuals that have done amazing things in their careers, particularly that have followed like a slightly different career route, to try and show professionals that it doesn't have to be the tried and tested grad scheme, stay at PwC for the rest of your life. We celebrate what makes us different, and we look at how success, whatever that looks like for you, is achieved, and celebrate the fact that it's achieved in a million different ways, and everyone has their own subtle characteristics, traits, habits, whatever they may be, that help them to achieve success, and that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. Having said that, today is a mini episode, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually turn that on our head. As I said, we're working with Runna, so we're going to look at what they are doing differently as a brand and as a community, and dig down into that. So, without further ado, Ben, please tell everyone about yourself. Start with yourself.
Yes. So, hi guys, nice to meet you all in the studio and back at home. I'm Ben, and I'm a running coach. So I've been a running coach for the last 5 or so years. Alongside running, I do Ironman, and I've done 6 to date, and that's kind of my main focus outside of work. But what Runna is essentially is it's a fully automated running coaching service. I spent kind of 3 years building up my own kind of online running coaching business where I would help up to 40 people, because that's all the people that I had time to coach. And one of my close friends and customers at the time reached out and suggested automating what I was doing with those 40 people. We spent 9 months of our evenings trying to automate that running coaching journey. It started as our Monday evenings, became Monday and Thursday until it was every night of the week. And then almost 2 years ago, we went and launched the business in its most primitive form, which was called the Run Buddy at the time. And quite quickly it started to pick up steam, and we quit our jobs and went full-time into that. Now we're in a position, we've got customers in 154 different countries, and growing really quite quickly, and a team of nearly 12 employees as well.
Fantastic. You've sort of blended my next question, which was the elevator pitch. I think you've done that. So we can dive straight into what is it about. As I said, we look at points of difference. Now, in the running world, there are any number of people that are trying to sort of get into that space. It's a hugely popular space, but I know that you guys do take pride in the fact that you're doing things a bit differently. You've got your own angle, so I'm going to blend the elevator pitch with your points of difference.
I'll have to
hit me with what is different about you guys. What is your sort of USP, as it were?
Yeah, I'll have to tell you a funny elevator pitch story afterwards. But essentially, when you think about training for a running goal, essentially before Runna, the only options would have been to go and pay a lot of money for a private coach, which is what I used to be, and is a very inaccessible service for the majority of the population. Otherwise, you'd have to go and download a free generic PDF from your local marathon that you're training for, read a book, or learn off YouTube, all of which are kind of inaccessible, kind of non-optimal services. So we are trying to automate and make that running coach role as accessible to the full demographic of people all around the world. And as a result, we've been able to kind of assess our customers coming in, and not just the type of people who used to previously pay a lot of money to train with a coach, and that probably makes up 15% of our audience. And the majority of our audience now is kind of everyday normal people who would have never worked with a coach before, but because we've been able to build it in a much more accessible package and at a much more affordable price, It means that we're getting, tons of beginners, people who maybe would never have thought that running was their thing, but by kind of making their running that much more structured, that much more progressive, it means that they're enjoying training with us and hopefully go on to achieve amazing things with their running as well.
Absolutely. So you are a runner, that was your background. You're now a, whether you like the term or not, tech founder. How much of your time is taken up by trying to get your head around tech and maybe not focusing on the bits that you love, or does it still marry up?
Well, yeah, the reason why I became a running coach to start with, or kind of went into the fitness space, was because I looked at two very successful parents who both went to Oxford, and my dad's founded a financial company and made a lot of money. I went and studied geography, and immediately in my first Christmas of my first year came home and said, I'm going to go into personal training, because I don't want to do that kind of conventional career path you talked about as you introduced everything. My parents' reaction was, we'll cut your allowance, you get used to being poor. And so I went down that route of doing outdoor exercise, working one-on-one with people and having a really nice work-life balance. And that was going really, really well with my 40 online clients, the in-person people I was working with, until we started the business. And I would say my personal fitness has gone downhill the last 2 years, ever since going into this whirlwind of a roller coaster. I've learned a huge amount, and I'm very much kind of in a stronger position now. We've raised a lot of money. We've very much kind of got through those very first, earliest years potentially, which means that now my 2023 resolution is to try and prioritize my fitness closer to the way in which I'm prioritizing the business right now.
It's so funny to hear you say that as someone that is in an industry, in the fitness industry. If you're saying that, how difficult for those
exactly.
The lawyers, the this, the that, and the other. But really interesting to know that it happens wherever.
Well, I think in a way also, like, a huge part of being a coach, now a coach to 5,000 people or a coach to 40 people, a key part of that is understanding the problems that they're going through, and all of those decisions that makes running hard for someone like yourself who has a very busy, stressful job, maybe can't be bothered to go running when it's raining or whatever it is, speaking from today or not, I don't know, but like all of those problems I also understand. I'm not some kind of superhuman who can run and it doesn't hurt when it gets tiring. And all of those things we need to build into the app, because not only do we need to make sure Runna, which is hopefully going to be the global coaching service anyone thinks of when they go and train for any running goal, we need to make sure that it's that much more, and setting them the optimal sessions. It also needs to understand the motivations of a runner and make sure that we're delivering sessions in a really fun, simple, easy way that gets you out the door and makes you look forward to those sessions and communicates with our customers in the right way. So there's so many more decisions than just improving the mathematical session you should do today for your fitness, but also making sure that you want to go out and do that as well. So lots of different
this is all going really neatly, because you've led again into my next question, which is, look, you've got this funding, and congratulations to all the Runna team. That is amazing. Well done. I know how hard that can be. There will be lots of going on in the background. I'm sure there'll be lots of boring bits as to where those funds are going to go, but is there a headline as to, is it going to be going global? Is it going to be a new feature? What's the headline that you hope to achieve with that?
Yeah, so for context, we've just raised, we've announced it was 1.9, but we've actually just raised £2.25 million and sold kind of 20% of the company, which doesn't mean that I get all that into my bank account. That is the money in the business's bank account, which now we can use to elevate the company. So there's kind of two areas of the company that we're kind of looking to progress in parallel. So one of which is making the business smarter, making the tech smarter. So that means hiring more staff to basically build all of the amazing features that we want to build in the running world, of which I won't name them all because it will bore lots of you, and also we don't want to tell anyone else out there what we're working on. But so a big part of it is basically growing the tech team, building lots of kind of amazing integrations out with the app, making sure the coaching is that much smarter. We're already a long way ahead of anyone else trying to do what we're doing, but we want to make sure we stay that way and get even further ahead. Then the other side of things is making sure that people actually know about Runna as well. So to date, to get to where we are now with our kind of 5,000 customers, we've had to always grow in an immediately profitable way. If we went and spent £100 on an advert, if that didn't bring us £110 back, that's £100 less that we can't pay our staff with at the end of the month. So we've never been able to do a big brand partnership or sponsorship like that. So we've just announced two. Oh yeah, other than this one. But so we've just announced 2 amazing, really big partnerships that we've had in the works for a while. So we're now the recommended training provider of Run Through and Limelight, 2 of the biggest running event organisers in the UK. So when you sign up to those events and 16 weeks before your marathon or 12 weeks before your half marathon, you're going to get an email saying we recommend you train with Runna, and like here's your 2-week free trial. So things like that you've got to put a lot of money into up front, we need to do to then hopefully reach many more people, and we're doing that in the UK and around the world. And you mentioned about the kind of global question. We have customers in 154 different countries already.
Because I guess it doesn't matter where you are. You're
exactly. So currently the limitations are you've got to have a smartphone, which lots of people have all over the world, and you've also got to speak English, which is a limitation that won't be a limitation forever. But looking at our audience, we've got 20% of our customers in the US, 10% in Australia, 6% in Canada, 4% in Ireland. So we are already really international. And in the last 3 months, we've had more sign-ups outside of the UK than inside the UK, which is brilliant because it means the marketing's working. But that presents its own challenges, from hiring people out in the US and making sure that we're sponsoring events all over the world as well. So it presents lots of challenges and means that, raising money so fast, hiring people so quickly means that, myself personally, I've got to learn from being a manager of 5 people back in November to being a manager of 10 now, and who knows how many by the end of the year as well.
Love it. On that point about, this is less for you, dear podcast listener, on that point about shouting about what we do, obviously we're on a much different scale, but do anything you can post, shout about us when you're with your friends next, tell them what we're doing and what Runna are doing. Please do it. Like we were saying, it really does make a difference. So, just to wrap up, we are in a room with what I hate the word, but it does actually work well, a community. Running is, in theory, an individual sport, right? But it seems to me, I'm not a big runner, as you can probably tell, but it does seem to me, from everyone that I do know that does it, it does create or foster this amazing community and team spirit for an individual sport. I guess 2 elements to this question, whichever one you want to take, which is, why is that about running? What is it about running that does that creates these great little communities? And how, I guess, important is that for you in terms of your building of the brand?
Yeah, so I think, they very much tie in together very nicely. So, why is the community a key part of helping someone with their running journey? Or if you think about it, running is hard. So we need to find any kind of source of motivation to get us out the door. And one of them is going to be telling your friends that you're going running, and then they're going to check that you did it. And that might have been the way that people did it in a village 100 years ago, but now it's a case of putting it on your Instagram, putting it on your Strava, something like that, going and getting kudos. And we all know those things work. And that's how human psychology works. We like external validation. We also like the internal motivation of some endorphins, which that also feeds into the addictive nature of running.
It's accountability as well, because you're right, if you tell 5 of your mates you're going for a run and you don't turn up, they'll know about it.
Exactly. And so running, and so many things in business, is psychological. And we need to understand the psychological elements at play that affect why someone goes out running, what makes them enjoy it, what makes them keep going running, which is ultimately going to mean that they keep subscribing and training with us and making the business actually make enough money to stand up. And so tapping into and understanding the way that people think is so key. So that's kind of building in those kind of rewards into the app. So maybe kind of looking at how we can build, trophies and challenges. As you're progressing through your challenge, your training with us, you can unlock rewards. You can get to certain thresholds and buy, premium items of clothing, or unlocking certain different barriers inside the app. So understanding an individual's motivation, but then also understanding that motivation comes from the collective as well. So inside the app, we've built something called the community section, so that's where you can come in, you can go into the 5K chat or the marathon chat, and in the future we'll have one for each city, one for each corporate, and having their different offices structured in there as we build out that big network. And so then you can share your run and you can motivate your colleagues or your friends. So that's something that we're doing there. But then there's also what we can do to also grow Runna as well. So that's the case of tapping into other communities, building our own communities, and we need to do that not only in the UK but also in the US and all of those 154 and hopefully 155th country soon as well.
Amazing. Listen, we've got everyone here live. I did promise you this is going to be a mini episode because I know you've just been running, maybe getting a bit cold, all that sort of stuff. So I'll wrap it up. Can I just say, this is a man that really knows his brand inside out, because that was all off the cuff. That may as well be shut. It went dead about 5 minutes ago.
I missed, on that note, I missed a very short story, which is you were going to ask me to do an elevator pitch, which I kind of avoided. I had to do an elevator pitch to the literal definition of that. I was at an investment evening where you go and pitch your business to lots of investors, and I hadn't spoken to the one person that I really needed to. And I could see him leaving, collecting his bag, and there was another person who was in the queue kind of wanting to talk to him first. So I got in the lift with him and I said, look, we both want to talk to you, and we were on floor 10, so you can have till floor 5 and then I get to go for the last 5. So he spoke
Very, generous of you guys to agree.
And it was kind of a joke, and this man obviously wanted to leave and get out of there, so I let him get to floor 5, and then I pressed 4, 3, 2, 1, and I doubled my time. Gave him the speech as quick as I could. I never heard from him ever again, but it was still quite funny.
You raised what you needed. Listen, thank you so much. Thank you guys. Is there anyone, Allbirds, did they want to? Anyone? Do you want to? Yeah, you do, because you have to get picked up on a microphone, I'm afraid.
Just to add to that, if anyone wants to try Runna, the code TYP, as you download the app, will give you a 2-week free trial so you can see what it's all about. And any questions, you can reach us inside the app and ask us how we can help you with your running.
Amazing. While I remember, we are about to hear from Allbirds, but we also do have 15% off card there. Grab on your way. But come and say a few words about Allbirds.
Yeah, so we hosted a Gate venue tonight. Allbirds, we believe in making things, better things in a better way. It sounds a bit cliche, like we try not to greenwash, not to give any names in general, in the industry. But Allbirds use premium materials like merino wool, eucalyptus tree, the lace are recycled bottles, the soles are derived of sugarcane. Super comfortable, that's kind of the biggest selling point of the shoe. We also dabble into clothing. It's a relatively new brand. 2016 is when it started. And again, the lot of success in the past 8 years. So yeah, that's some bits about Allbirds.
Amazing, thank you. Thea, can I have my phone 1 second? I can't not. Keep clapping, you're enjoying yourself. Love it, thank you guys. Honestly, there are a few more nibbles here. Chill out, relax, chat, network. We're a networking organisation. And thank you again. Hope to see you another one soon.
And if anyone's got any running questions, you can ask me your running questions as well.